That iconic album is being re-released as part of the anniversary celebrations, and critics say it will more than likely go straight to the top of the UK charts. Among the various versions going on sale is a 6-disc deluxe set that will include demos of the songs Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds and Strawberry Fields Forever. Other memorabilia up for grabs is a rare promotional display of the album from 1967. It was placed in a HMV shop in London a week before the record went on sale. But what makes it special is that Paul McCartney asked for him and his bandmates to be blacked out of the display because he wasn't sure if the album would be a success. It's expected to fetch around $54,000. And the garden that featured on that iconic album cover has been recreated at Chiswick House in London to coincide with the Chelsea Fringe Festival. Gardeners have been busy planting flowers to make sure it looks as close to the animated original as possible. The festival runs until Sunday. Our editor-at-large, Craig Capitas, joins me now from Paris to talk about this some more. Craig, 50 years on and still going strong?
Oh, absolutely. And it only took them 700 hours and 25,000 British pounds to make the album, which at the time was a fortune. Now it seems like a drop in the bucket. This Sgt Pepper has legs that'll last for another 50 years, if not longer. Most critics say it's the greatest album ever made.
And Craig, tell me more about the inspiration behind the album.
Well, the inspiration was the Beatles weren't doing a lot of tours, and they were kind of falling apart. And they woke up one morning and they heard the Beach Boys album, Pet Sounds, and another album called Freak Out by Frank Zappa's Mother of Inventions. And they figured they had to do something different and do something quicker. They were going to be left in the dust. So it was McCartney's idea to create a fictional alter ego band, and that was Sgt Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. And it was basically an attempt to equal Pet Sounds, which was very popular at that time. Not only did it equal Pet Sounds, it exceeded it beyond anyone's belief. Not only the lyrics, the music, the album cover. It was a first in many ways. It was the first album that didn't have a break, a momentary break between songs. The songs melded together. Another interesting thing about the album was everyone probably remembers the line, there's 4,000 holes in Blackburn, Lancashire. Now we know how many holes it takes to fill the Albert Hall. Those kind of details in the lyrics, Lennon actually took out of the newspapers. He was a vociferous reader of newspapers, and he had read a story a few weeks earlier that there were 4,000 potholes in this town called Blackburn in the county of Lancashire, excuse me. And that's how that came about. But it wasn't all roses for the Beatles. A lot of people didn't like the album, including Keith Richards. He thought that Sgt Pepper was the death of rock and roll, and in many ways, the great blues guitarist Keith Richards was right. It opened up an entire new genre that no one had expected and everyone fell in love with. Well,
Craig, you told me how much it was to make the album. Very little in today's terms. How much, do we have any idea how much they're worth now?
Oh, well, that's really interesting. You know, Brian Epstein, the manager, he made their contracts ahead of time, so the Beatles knew what they were going to get paid before they made their next album. Hard to believe, the entire band made 1/4 of a penny for every record they sold. That quarter penny had to be shared between 4 people. So, and the reason for this is that the Beatles never made all that much money because there was no merchandising. They didn't really tour. Most estimates put the worth of the individual Beatles based on their songs anywhere. Lennon about $220 million estate, Harrison about $200 million. The biggest was McCartney's estate, according to sources, about $560 to $600 million. And Ringo was the low man on the totem pole, somewhere with between 180 and 200 million. But nonetheless, the Beatles estate through Apple Corp keeps generating itself, and this album will make a lot of money for the guys and their families and the estate, and that's great. Everyone should listen to Sgt Pepper. If you've never heard it, listen to it. It likely is the greatest album ever made.
Craig Capitas in Paris, always a pleasure.